What's your favorite animated TV show?
Well, I like DuckTales. That Scrooge McDuck, well, what a businessman.
What's your favorite animated TV show?
Well, I dig Captain Planet, man. I love the Earth so much. I dig the idea of the Earth superhero.
What's your favorite animated TV show?
Anything with Superman. Superman, Batman, the entire Justice League. Anything like Super Friends Justice League. That's what I love.
What's your favorite animated TV show?
That's easy. Back to the Future, the series. I love Dr. Emmett L. Brown. He's my personal hero.
Hey, Bruce.
What is it this time, Go?
I was going to ask you a question, but, you did ask to be on the show more. Why don't you come on the show and do this show with me again? How about that?
Me and my big mouth. Okay, fine, whatever, I don't care.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Commander Go Show.
Hey, Go. Not to tell you your business or anything, but you forgot to say what movie you were reviewing this time.
Oh, I didn't forget. We're doing a special episode this time.
Oh, what have I gotten myself into?
No, don't worry, you'll love it. This time we're doing the top 20 animated TV shows.
Oh, yeah. I'm so excited. So what is this, like the top rated or the best reviewed, that sort of thing?
No, it's just my personal top 20 list. Just my personal top 20 favorites at this time, animated TV shows of all time.
Well, I'm sure that will be very informative.
No, it's supposed to be fun. I make my top 20 list, and then if you're watching along, you can make up your own top 20 list and see where they overlap. You can see where there's something I forgot, maybe something that you love. It's just a fun experiment kind of thing.
Oh, yes, it's so fun, and I have absolutely nothing better to do, so, yeah, let's do this. Actually, come to think of it, I really do have nothing better to do. Ugh, jeez.
All right, then, everybody get ready for the top 20 animated TV shows of all time, according to Commander Go.
Assisted by Bruce, the Belligerent Brontosaurus. That's me.
By the way, if you would like to see more content about pop culture, movies, and TV, then click that subscribe button. And hey, it just might brighten your day too. And now, on with the show. Number 20, The Simpsons.
The Simpsons? Geez, didn't they, run out of material 25 years ago? I mean, look up beating a dead horse in the dictionary. You'll see the Simpsons picture.
Does anybody really actually use a dictionary anymore?
Oh, give me a break. I'm a literal dinosaur.
But you do have a point. The Simpsons is the longest-running animated TV show in U.S. history, and in fact the longest-running scripted TV show of any kind in U.S. history. And as such, they've had a lot of material to cover, and their best days are probably behind them now. But in their heyday, The Simpsons was a phenomenon. When it debuted, it took the world by storm. I remember when you couldn't go to a mall anywhere in America without seeing Bart Simpson t-shirts for sale.
A mall? What's a mall?
Very funny, Mr. Literal Dinosaur. But The Simpsons wouldn't have been so successful if they didn't have the quality to back it up. The Simpsons had good writing, and the animation was solid enough to sell not just the humor, but also the emotion. The Simpsons was controversial when it debuted for its irreverence. Such irreverence is considered tame by today's standards, but was shocking to audiences back then. But despite the irreverence, the heart always shined through. When it came down to it, you could tell this family really loved each other.
Ah, that's sweet. I think I'm gonna be sick.
Number 19, The Flintstones.
The Flintstones? Now we're talking. Bedrock, that's a place a dinosaur could feel at home.
But wait, didn't Fred eat Bronto burgers?
Don't ruin this for me, Go.
Well, The Flintstones was the first ever primetime animated sitcom. It came out in the 1960s, at a time when animation was suffering from slashed budgets and shorter schedules due to the move to television. You can see the limited animation techniques when you watch The Flintstones. It's not quite the quality that the previous theatrical cartoons were up to, but it still has a certain charm to it. And they decided to play to their strengths. They made it a sitcom focusing on characters and situations for the humor, instead of sight gags, although you'll see a few of those. They used the very funny and successful sitcom The Honeymooners as a template, and just decided to make an animated version of The Honeymooners set in a world full of dinosaurs.
Well, that's a no-brainer if you ask me. You could improve any sitcom by placing it in a world full of dinosaurs, in my opinion.
Well, anyway, the result is this Stone Age suburban setting and these characters have gone on to become iconic and classics.
Of course it did. I could have told them that. Hollywood really should be consulting me with every decision they make.
But your advice would just be to add dinosaurs to everything.
Of course, what's wrong with that?
Number 18. South Park. While the animation in the South Park may be of low quality...
Low-quality animation? You're one to talk. Look at me. I haven't moved one single muscle since I debuted on this channel.
Yeah, sorry about that, Bruce. But animation takes time, and I have a day job. Look, I promise, once I'm able to work on these videos as my full-time job, I will animate you.
Yeah, I'm holding my breath over here. You can't tell because I'm already blue, so you can't see me turn blue in the face.
But anyway, animation in South Park is of low quality, but that's by design.
Wait, why would someone deliberately animate something poorly?
Well, when South Park began, it was meant as a shock humor kind of show, using a lot of gross-out gags. And that sort of thing can offend people, but the less realistic, the more poor quality it seems to be, the more people are likely to dismiss it rather than get all up in arms.
Ah, okay, I guess so.
Of course, the show then pivoted to a more satirical approach to the humor, both socially and politically.
Yeah, people take offense at that stuff, too.
Right, but again, they already had this sort of poor quality animation style. So that helped them do the satirical kind of humor as well.
Yeah, but just being shocking, outrageous, or offensive doesn't really mean you're funny.
Well, that's true. But South Park does it right. They have actual smart writing to back up this shock humor. So it actually is funny. Number 17. The Smurfs. The Smurfs is full of whimsy and nostalgia for me. It was very big in the 80s. I remember seeing tons of Smurfs merchandise back then. But ultimately, the Smurfs are visually appealing. Their world is colorful and fanciful. And they live pretty happy lives when they're not being chased by evil wizards. It's just a nice escape from reality.
Yeah, Smurfs was okay. But really, I would have liked it better if Grouchy Smurf was the star. Yeah, that's the kind of show I want to watch.
Number 16. Tiny Toon Adventures. After years of animation for television being made with money and time-saving limited animation, around the late 80s and early 90s we begin to see a renaissance occur.
You mean the Disney Renaissance?
Yes, but it wasn't just Disney. The Disney Renaissance was the most famous aspect of it, but there was a renaissance going on throughout the animation industry. For a while, the whole industry seemed to be trying to recapture the magic of the golden age of animation in both style and content. Which brings us to Tiny Toon Adventures. Tiny Toon Adventures captured the spirit of the classic Looney Tunes cartoons of the golden age. But instead of using the classic Looney Tunes characters, it focused on new characters that were protégés of the original Looney Tunes characters, with the original Looney Tunes making cameo appearances as their teachers.
But why try to reinvent the wheel like that? Why not just use the original Looney Tunes characters?
Well, it was also following another trend that was going on in animation at the time. You see, there were many animated shows being made at the time that were focusing on kid versions of popular animated characters. But I think the creators of Tiny Toons were smart to make the kid versions of the original animated characters actually be different characters rather than just the same characters but younger. That allowed them a little more freedom. They also depicted them as a little bit older than most of the kid versions. They're more or less high school age in Tiny Toon Adventures.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, yeah, they're old enough to be able to still get up to some of the same antics that their teachers used to get up to, but they're still young enough that you can incorporate that kid stuff, like going to school, dealing with bullies, that sort of thing.
Exactly. Number 15. Futurama. Futurama uses the same art style and sense of humor as its sister show, The Simpsons, but places it in a futuristic sci-fi setting. Thus, the show is able to affectionately mock the sci-fi tropes that I really love, and is also able to use its sci-fi setting to do some light social commentary from a completely different context.
Or, wait a minute, hear me out here. How about Past-O-Rama? The same thing, but in reverse. You just go back in time.
To what, like the Middle Ages or the Roman Empire or something?
Don't be dense, you know what I'm getting at. Back to the age of the dinosaurs, of course.
Wouldn't that just be kind of like the Flintstones?
Whatever, just get on with it.
But like The Simpsons, what elevates Futurama is its heart. There are some surprisingly heartfelt and even tear-jerking episodes to this series. Number 14. Gargoyles. Gargoyles was sort of Disney's answer to Warner Brothers' Batman the Animated Series that had recently come out and taken the animation world by storm. It had a dark and gothic color palette to it and a dark and gothic tone. It had an epic quality to it, smart writing, sophisticated characters, and it was action-packed. So Disney really took all the right lessons from Batman the Animated Series and gave us a really good series in response. It followed the adventures of creatures that had been trapped in stone for centuries, as though they were stone statues, like gargoyles. But they came back to life in New York City and adopted the city as their home, and they became its protectors.
Yeah, I remember that show. Yeah, it was pretty good, but for some reason it always made me want to watch Star Trek afterwards. I don't know why.
Oh, I can tell you why. That's because the voice cast for Gargoyles utilized a lot of the actors from Star Trek. Jonathan Frakes, Marina Sirtis, Brent Spiner, Kate Mulgrew, Michael Dorn.
So I guess if you like Batman and Star Trek and want to kind of smush those together and like stir it up in a Shakespearean pot, then you'd like Gargoyles, right?
Yeah, I would say that. Number 13. What's New, Scooby-Doo? There have been so many new iterations of Scooby-Doo that have come out since the original Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? But they all seem to have some gimmick, some twist, some tweak to the classic Scooby-Doo formula. But with What's New, Scooby-Doo, that classic Scooby-Doo formula is what you get.
Hold on, wait a minute. If you're saying that the classic original Scooby-Doo formula from Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Is the best thing for Scooby-Doo, why aren't you picking that show? Why are you picking one of the new Scooby-Doo shows?
Well, for one factor alone, animation. The original Scooby-Doo came out in 1969, at a time when animation for TV, by necessity, had to be very limited, with a lot of shortcuts taken. But this version of Scooby-Doo debuted at the tail end of that animation renaissance. Hanna-Barbera had recently been acquired by Warner Brothers, so a new studio, Warner Brothers Animation, was taking over the animation. And they had just come off of great animated works like Tiny Toon Adventures, Animaniacs, and Batman the Animated Series. So they had a lot of experience now bringing great animation to television. So this show gives you that classic Scooby-Doo formula, but the animation looks so much better. It's so much more pleasant to watch. Not that the old one is that bad to watch. That old limited animation has its charm, but when you put it side by side with this kind of animation, there's just no comparison. Number 12. DuckTales.
Whoa! I'm sorry, you gotta do it. It's like a law or something.
Okay, but I'm not just including it for its catchy theme song. DuckTales was another one of those cartoons that ushered in that animation renaissance. It brought high-quality animation of classic Disney characters to the television screen, while at the same time bringing those classic adventure stories from the old Carl Barks, Uncle Scrooge comics to television as well. This was a winning combination.
Yeah, but isn't Donald Duck supposed to be in those comic strips? I didn't see him in this cartoon.
He was in it, but only occasionally. He made a few cameo appearances. But yeah, it would have been better with Donald. For some reason, it seemed they didn't want to bring their big stars like Mickey and Donald to television at the time. I'm not sure why. They did do a remake recently of DuckTales, and they fixed that problem in the remake. They did bring Donald back into it. And while that remake series was very good, I still like the original better, simply because of the classic animation style. The new series modernized the style. It's not as much to my liking.
Yeah, well, you know how Hollywood is. If it ain't broke, fix it till it is.
Number 11. Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes. This series came out just as the MCU was popularizing Marvel all over the country. But this series, rather than base it directly on the MCU version of the Avengers, was instead based on the comic books, and took an approach much more similar to the approach taken with the DC animated universe in recent years. What with the Batman the Animated Series, Justice League, and Superman the Animated Series, those kinds of series. I'm particularly fond of that approach, and this is the Marvel series that is most similar to that style. And yet, there is still something distinctly Marvel about it. It was unfortunately canceled early to make way for a new series, Avengers Assemble, which was an animated series that much more closely resembled the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, I get it. They didn't want it to be too different. Like, the audience couldn't get that these were just different versions, different continuities. They thought it had to be, like, the same thing. Yeah, and then a few years later, they're gonna turn around and start shoving multiverses down our throats.
Well, regardless, Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes is one of the best Marvel animated series to have come out so far. Thanks for joining us for part 1.
Yeah, and now if you mammals want to see the rest of it, stay tuned to this channel.
That's right, Bruce. The top 10 is coming soon.